So today is my 14th wedding anniversary. So today I'm gonna stop and rank my wife's 14 favorite movies from the worst to the best. But a video idea like this isn't one that you should do by yourself. I think I need a special guest. For the first time ever, my wife is joining in. So let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean.
And I'm Jennifer.
And I love to talk about movies way too much. Today's episode is a special one because we're talking about her 14 favorite movies for our 14th anniversary. It was pretty wild. 14 years.
It's a miracle.
You guys have no idea how difficult I am to live with. If you want to see the list of movies, it's down below in the description of the ones you've watched. Rank them down below in the comment section. My list isn't the right list because her list is the right list, but I would love to see yours as well. In this video, I'm going to give my thoughts on the movies, and then she's going to tell me why I'm wrong real quick. And let's get started. Coming in last place is Cinderella. You might be thinking the Kenneth Branagh film from a few years back. No, not that one. You might be thinking the Disney classic. No, not that one. We're talking about the 1997 TV movie featuring Whitney Houston. And we all have those odd movies that we absolutely love, that we have so much nostalgia for. And so they creep into our top 10s, our top 20s. That's a little bit what this feels like to me, because when I watch this movie as it appears on our TV from time to time, I see a TV movie with forgettable songs. She sees top 15 material. And so it's nice to see this set of actors and singers showing up in something. That's my one praise for it. Beyond that, it's just kind of odd to me. Win me over real quick on this one.
I can't. You're a lost cause. There's nothing I can say that would convince you. You're just incorrect.
What do you love about it real quick?
I love the texture of the movie. The costumes and the set is really pretty. The set design's really neat.
For a TV movie?
No, it's lovely. He is wrong. The color choices, the songs, the casting.
Well, if you're
Bernadette Peters.
That's true. She is in it when she's awful. She's the worst as the stepmother.
But she's great at being the worst.
Great at being the worst. So if you're interested in musical theater, how about you go check this one out and let us know which one of us is correct.
Although you have to get it on DVD right now. It's not on Disney Plus or streaming anywhere that I'm aware of online.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So piracy might improve over the next couple of days. Number 13, Meet Me in St. Louis, a Judy Garland musical and the place where the song Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas originated. This is just absolutely not my thing on every level. I'm not really into classic era cinema. If you're familiar with my channel, that's probably not a big surprise. Beyond that, it's an old-timey musical. Not my thing. And then it's a period piece film for when it came out in 1944. It's a period piece from before that about young women finding husbands. And those are just not my movies. I am well aware that this is better than a lot of the movies on this list. Objectively speaking, this is just not my thing. Why do you love this movie?
I love this movie for a lot of reasons. When I made this list, I was trying to kind of think about genres and try to pick kind of my favorite from each type of film.
Yeah.
And so this type of film is like what I watched with Grandma growing up.
Okay.
So My Fair Lady, Meet Me in St. Louis, and then specifically the copy that Grandma had of Meet Me in St. Louis was a 2 VHS tape collection.
Gotcha.
And so the movie was on the first VHS tape, and on the second VHS tape was like a special features, which is always really intriguing to me. And so it had like how it was made. It had several different versions of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas that are hilariously dark and evil.
Isn't there one with suicide in it?
I don't believe so.
I might be thinking of a different song.
So it just reminds me of time at the lake, time with my grandparents, watching classic movies, and it's just so much fun. And I sang the trolley song to Liam all the time when he was little.
I did not watch movies like this with my grandparents growing up. Number 12, Equilibrium. If you're unfamiliar with this film, basically it's a 21st century rehash of Fahrenheit 451 and A Brave New World, except wrapped in a Matrix skin, which in theory I should love. It also stars Christian Bale as well as Michael Biehn. Also, reasons that I should love it. And I've just never liked this movie as much as I should on paper. I am the target demographic for this movie. And honestly, my big takeaway after seeing this movie was, it was right when Christian Bale had cast as Batman, but we hadn't seen trailers or anything yet. So I just watched this movie and my thought was, oh yeah, this guy probably can do a good Batman. Why do you love this movie?
Well, not directly related, but fun trivia fact. This was the first movie you and I ever watched together.
It's true. And it was the first time I ever started trashing a movie to her and started doing this deep dive analysis with this person that I had just met.
It did not go well. I was not pleased that he didn't like the movie.
Well, it couldn't have gone too bad because we got married.
14 years later. It was a good conversation starter. I like it. It's got its flaws, you know, for a movie that's supposed to have no emotion. There's a lot of emotion. Yes. But if we're all honest, watching a movie with no emotions whatsoever would not be very entertaining. So you got to walk that line.
Says you.
Okay. Says the man that just trashed classic movies.
I did. I absolutely did. But what do you love about it?
I like dystopian concepts.
But you don't like Mad Max.
It's different. I mean, I know what you're saying, but no, the flavor is different. Okay. So I don't know. Christian Bale, good movie, dystopian society, valuing art, feelings, emotions.
And for those of you wondering, spoiler alert, Michael Biehn does die.
Poor Michael Biehn. He needs a new agent.
Real quick, as a point of reference, as we go up higher on the list, I enjoy all the movies. I even enjoy Equilibrium a good bit. It's entirely watchable. But as we go up, these are movies that I would say, oh, that's a good movie. Yeah, you should check that out. Next up, Mickey Blue Eyes. This is a rom-com starring Hugh Grant as a guy that proposes to a lady, Jean Triplehorn, and then she finds out that her dad, James Caan, is in the mob, and so therefore he kind of gets sucked up into this mob world. For me, this movie's scenes and sequences are better than the whole. There's these quotable lines, sequences that are just laugh out loud funny, memorable. She repeats them all the time, and she's totally right. They're really funny. And I think Hugh Grant is so underrated as an entertainer. He's so good in all of these types of films. The actual story as a whole, when you get into the mob plot line and the government getting involved, not nearly as good as the moments.
It's just a classic. A friend of mine introduced it to me in high school, and we watched it all the time. It's hilarious watching a British guy try to be a mobster.
What the he? We got it under control. Forget about it.
Why in the world are you talking like
Shut
that?
up. I had enough of yous.
It's just good quality fun.
And it contains the line, why does Jesus have a machine gun? Which is a great question.
That is not normally a selling point when I'm trying to get people to watch the movie.
But that's the thing. This is one of those movies that you're always trying to get people to watch because people don't talk about it. It's not one of the Hugh Grant films that's on the forefront. And so it becomes one of those movies you can introduce people to, which is kind of a bit of fun. Bringing us into the top 10, The Family Man, where it starts off showing kind of this moment between Nicolas Cage and Ted Leone as two people that are in a relationship. He decides to go off to Europe in pursuit of his career, and then it jumps forward years, and he's become this lonely, rich, successful businessman that is kind of reflecting on the past, and then through a chance encounter, it kicks off kind of one of these what-if scenarios where he lives the life that could have happened had he not left. And so he suddenly wakes up the next day, and Ted Leone is his wife. He has kids, and he has like a crappy job compared to what he had before. And so then it's that plays through that what if scenario with this guy who's right at that midlife crisis age. So for me, it has a lot of nice emotional moments to it. It can be funny. I like Ted Leone. I like Nicolas Cage, of course, like every other normal person. But the movie, I think it has to it's trying to force you through every midlife crisis point. So there's the setup for the affair. There's the job that he wished he would have had. There's kind of forces you through all of these in a way that the full journey doesn't always work for me. But the overall experience has a lot of positive moments to it.
I would agree with that. I think it's...
Dude, not cool. Not cool. We only have 15 minutes to finish. Go ahead.
I think it's like a modern retelling of kind of a combination between like A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life, which you haven't seen.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life yet. But yeah, that we were in my notes. I didn't even mention that.
Oh, look at us. It's like we've been married for 14 years
true.
or something. So I like it a lot. I think there's a bunch of components like you're talking about where he just almost doesn't get, like you feel like he's made some progress and then he backtracks. And that's frustrating. But
and that's when I talk about the journey. That's what I'm referring to.
So, but it's just fun. It's a kind of time-traveling movie, which I'm a huge fan of, and it's sweet.
And you're a big fan of Téa Leoni as well.
I am huge fan.
And everybody likes Nicolas Cage.
It's true, especially your mom.
That's also true. Number 9, You've Got Mail. This is the Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan team up after Sleepless in Seattle, where she owns a small little bookstore, and he's basically the big corporate bookstore that moves right around the corner from her. She's the shop around the corner, and he puts her out of business. But at the start of the movie, we realize that they are online pen pals that don't know the real life version of the other person. And so then while they're like falling in love over the internet, they're becoming rivals in real life. And that's the hook for this particular rom-com, which is incredibly dated in the year 2020 because the whole thing is based around America Online, which I don't even, like, I think my mom is the only person that still uses it. And she was literally interviewed for an article about people that still use America Online. And the title is related to when you would sign into America Online, it would say, "You've got mail." And that's the title of this movie. Anyway, if I'm in the mood for, a Tom Hanks movie, this probably isn't the one I'm going to go to. If I'm in the mood for a Meg Ryan rom-com, I'm probably going to go for IQ. So for me, it's totally fine, totally watchable. Everyone is charming. It's just not necessarily the rom-com I gravitate towards. You, however, watch this movie a lot.
Guilty. Yes. I love it. It was a tough choice between this one and Sleepless in Seattle. I did have both of those as contenders in my list, and this one...
This is the one you watch more, by a lot.
Yes. Well, and the reason I didn't choose Sleepless in Seattle is it's got the dead mom story, which...
That's what I love about that one, is that particular plot point.
I just think it's wholesome. I think it's fun. I know what you're saying about it being dated, but I love the nostalgia, even with the sound of the modem connecting.
True.
It hits hard. And AOL, like, I might be the perfect age. Like, you got those discs in the mail in college all the time for a month of free internet. Like, it's nostalgic. It's sweet. It's fun.
And mean-spirited as he puts her out of business.
Yeah.
Next up is About Time, a rom-com starring General Hux and Rachel McAdams, and has a time travel twist of sorts. Very sweet, very sentimental film. Has a very early film from Margot Robbie, actually. I thoroughly enjoy Rachel McAdams in films like this. It's nice to see General Hux not being General Hux. I love time travel stuff. On paper, I should like this movie a lot more than I actually do. I have no complaints about it, actually. I just don't love it as much as a lot of other people do. Like I said,
tragic.
I'm totally would be positive on the film. I don't mind watching it. It doesn't work for me the way it does for others.
Like me.
Like you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Like I said, I love time travel movies. I love, of course, the sentimental, sappy stuff. I love Rachel McAdams. I love the different, changes when he goes in time and changes something and then he comes back and it's just slightly different. I thought they did that really well. I love the father-son element.
Played by Bill Nye.
Bill Nye.
Not the science guy, the other one that I like a lot more.
And he's normally a lot darker, I think, of a character in the films that he's in.
He does both. He does comedy and he does serious stuff.
That's right. He was that musician.
Yeah, he goes back and forth between the serious and the creepy.
I haven't seen everything.
You're just thinking of those vampire movies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Besides that, everything else he was like lighthearted, but in one movie he was a creepy vampire.
Super creepy vampire.
That's true.
And gross.
And gross.
Yeah.
But that movie's not on this list.
It is not.
Number 7, Happy Gilmore. Of course, one of the classic 90s Adam Sandler comedies. And this is one of the movies that established him as the comedic legend. He had Billy Madison before this, but this one was a bigger hit, more popular, more quotable, more part of the zeitgeist. Even just little things like him fighting Bob Barker in it. It sets up characters that even as recently a few months ago, characters from this movie showed up in Hubie Halloween. So one of the great Adam Sandler 90s comedies. I mean, if you haven't seen it, if you like Adam Sandler, this is one of the movies you have to go watch.
It's fun. I feel like this is one of the ones I'm going to get the most flack for. Like, how did this make your list and not Ever After or something? It was a really close...
Would have been nice if your entire list was just different versions of Cinderella.
It'd be funny. I don't know if it would have been nice. I think it'd be interesting to make you talk about different versions of Cinderella.
But we're on this one. Sorry, I distracted you.
So I like this movie. It's so funny. My dad and my brother and I quote it to each other all the time. I think I was saying this was really close with Tommy Boy. I was not sure Tommy Boy or Happy Gilmore. And what pushed Happy Gilmore over the edge was that my dad and my brother and I watch it and quote it back and forth to each other. Can you bleep me? That's my favorite line. Can you bleep me?
Okay, you just have to remind me.
All right, so our favorite line is, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. And he goes, you eat pieces of for breakfast?
I'll eat pieces of like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of for breakfast?
It's the best.
Legitimately, every time she hears that line, she breaks out laughing. Even when she says it, she breaks out laughing.
It's funny.
Number 6, Enchanted. Basically, it's the movie Elf, except if it was a Disney princess that went to New York City instead of one of Santa's elves. We happened to watch Elf right before we watched this one, and when you watch them back to back, you're like, this really is the exact same thing. But I think they just pretty well nailed it with the casting of Amy Adams as this princess, Patrick Dempsey, James Marsden. I mean, everybody that they cast was just perfect for playing these different roles, whether the Prince Charming.
Adele Dazeem.
Or Idina Menzel as the other love interest in it. And the songs are really catchy, really good. And so I think I'm absolutely not the target audience for it, but I think it works. The exact peak of the movie, the climax, feels a bit out of place because they didn't really set up action throughout the rest of it. So having to have like a big action showdown, maybe feels a little bit off. But besides that, I really enjoy this movie.
It's just a great movie. I think part of why I like it, aside from how well it's executed, is that it's a bunch of different components from the stories that you love. So if you want to watch something like that, Enchanted is a really good pick because it's kind of got all that stuff. I like that it's kind of like a wink at the audience at all the silly tropes that come in that type of movie. It's just fun and it's really sweet. And the only thing I don't really not like about it, but like... James Marsden is just the best, and he is always second fiddle.
Well, consistently the other guy, but the other guy that's a good guy.
I know.
Like they did, so many movies in the zeros, X-Men, Notebook, Superman Returns, this one, and you could keep on going, coming up with more movies where he was the other guy, but a really great other guy.
27 Dresses, he got to be the main guy.
Nice.
That's like the only one I can think of right now.
In 5th place, Edge of Tomorrow. This is one of the worst marketed films of all time because it looked like a pretty generic Tom Cruise, very serious sci-fi vehicle ripping off Groundhog Day, and it turned out to be just one of the most fun and freshest sci-fi action movies of the decade. That in a certain way, it has Tom Cruise playing against type at the beginning, and then he becomes the normal action hero. Emily Blunt is just awesome as this character that coaches him throughout the story. And has such a great pace to it due to the editing. They find a way to have this story that keeps looping backwards, but it never feels like you loop any one thing for too long. You loop it, and then once you're like, I hope they don't do that again, it moves to this next thing and we go down a different path. And when it starts to like move the story forward, it edits it just right. So it just moves so quickly. And then we go back to the main front and he's just tearing guys up. And so satisfying, amazing action. Of course, Tom Cruise is one of the greats at this sort of thing. So if you haven't seen it, if you like my channel, you'll like Edge of Tomorrow.
Such a good movie. I tell almost everybody, it's like my warrior.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow is like my warrior is like warrior is to you. There we go. Time travel, sci-fi, Tom Cruise being not Tom Cruise is hilarious.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt is just the best. I just love her. It's just great. And like you said, they managed to do it in a way that you feel the repetition. So like you can tell that it's obnoxious to him and like you can feel the time and the strain, but at the same time it's not boring or overdone. It's so good.
And it's just handled so well. Go watch it. In fourth place, Galaxy Quest. If you don't know, this movie is basically a satire parody of both Star Trek as a show as well as the fandom, but it's a celebration of them at the same time. It's not making fun of or looking down on any of that. It's just having fun with some of the odd quirks that went along with Star Trek, the stars of the show, as well as the fandom. As the person that grew up watching Star Trek and going to Star Trek conventions all throughout the 90s, this movie, it was just incredible that something like this came into existence. The cast is phenomenal, from obviously Tim Allen in the lead, Sigourney Weaver, but then you have a very young Sam Rockwell. Even Rainn Wilson has a small part in it. I mean, just an awesome cast where you could just praise everyone as being perfect in the film. It's really funny. It's a celebration of all the stuff that I love. And it's a movie you like and you love. Obviously, it's on your top 14. And you didn't grow up on any of this.
No. I think that's part of the appeal, though, too, is like seeing you and your love for Star Trek and then kind of catching it, like, you know, from you. And then just being understanding of fandoms and all of that and getting to see, even like you said, the celebration. It's so rare where they don't mock.
Right.
That
it's not mean-spirited. It's not.
No.
It doesn't have any of that.
It's so good. It's what is it that people say? It's the best Star Trek movie.
Yeah, it's like the best Star Trek. It's not a Star Trek movie. People like when I've done a ranking of Star Trek movies where we included Galaxy Quest in it, and that's the attitude of a lot of Star Trek fans. Is like, oh, it's just a great Star Trek movie.
So good,
even though it's not a Star Trek movie. It is cracking jokes about the fandoms in the best ways possible.
And Justin Long is fantastic.
Right, I didn't even mention Justin. There's so many more people I could mention that I forgot about, and it works for the fans, as well as just being a good movie for anyone. Real quick, before I give you my top 3, be sure to share your ranking down below in the comment section. If you need the list of the movies, it's down below in the description. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. In third place, While You Were Sleeping, I believe this is my favorite rom-com, or my second favorite. Maybe The Wedding Singer is above this one. Probably Wedding Singer above this one. But this, for me, is like top 3 rom-coms of all time. Not my go-to genre, but it's not a genre that I hate at any. Like, if you're in the mood for a rom-com, I'm rarely like, what? Why are you putting this garbage on? I'm not that person at all. That would be bad because she enjoys putting those movies on. But it stars Sandra Bullock on her upward swing prime, before she was big movie star person, but after she was very much on the radar because of the movie Speed. Next year, this comes out, and it's her with Bill Pullman. And it's just like a delightful, charming film. Everyone is likable. There's great dynamics. It's a goofy setup, but that feels right. And you just enjoy being with these characters in the midst of all the shenanigans.
It's just phenomenal. There's great entourage cast. Everybody feels like somebody you know.
Yeah.
And somebody you want to be friends with or get to know better. The dynamics and like you said, the shenanigans are just so funny. I don't know. I don't even know how to talk about it. I just love it so much. It's just so good.
It's a movie that I've never met anyone that has seen it and didn't like it. And pretty much anyone that's in our age range that's seen it thinks it's amazing. It's as simple as that.
They should.
And if you're wondering why I keep looking around the room awkwardly, it's because our new dog is in the room. he couldn't stand to be away from us. And so we had to have him in the room with us. And at least once he's knocked the camera over while we were filming. So that happened. Our runner-up is Jaws. Now, I've said this before on my channel, but I'd never seen Jaws before I met her. And I saw Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in the theater in '89. I saw Hook in the theater 30 years ago. I saw Jurassic Park in the theater, 1993. But somehow, even though I loved Spielberg before I met her, I'd missed this iconic, important film. And I've discussed it many, many times on my channel, but it's in that category of perfect films that the characters match the scenario. Every event matters. Every moment matters. The way that Spielberg captured each sequence is perfect. It's so well done that people stopped going to beaches for a while. Why did you like this movie?
Well, I love shark movies, and I don't know why. I don't remember how old I was the first time I saw Jaws. I don't remember, like, the first time that I realized that I loved it. I do remember one time I watched, like, they had a marathon where they just ran all of them when I was at the lake, and Grandpa was mad at me because I was watching TV and I wasn't outside. So he sent me outside, and so I went down to the dock. It's a freshwater, basically river, and I'm staring at the water, and I'm just imagining Jaws coming out, and I freaked myself out. It's
probably a reasonable fear.
It probably isn't, but thank you for the validation. I think what I love most about it is a little bit how it almost wasn't so great. Like, if you don't know the backstory of how they made it and how the shark was mechanical and it was underwater and, like, it didn't work the whole time they were making the film except for the few scenes that made it into the film.
That lucky gentleman, Steven
so
Spielberg.
Cool. It's interesting. Like Meet Me in St. Louis, just those special features. I love that stuff.
But speaking of Steven Spielberg, coming in at number 1, Jurassic Park. In a lot of ways, objectively, Jaws is probably the better film, but what's the one that I've rewatched more likely to rewatch, and means more to me personally? Jurassic Park. As mentioned before, I saw it in the theater when it first came out. Loved it then, still love it to this day. And so much of that is that it's a great concept that everyone has this fascination with dinosaurs. And so the idea of that moment where technology got there and you could pull off dinosaurs. And then Spielberg was the one that directed the movie. You had great source material from Michael Crichton with a great book with all the magic of Spielberg, John Williams' score, and you just feel like the dinosaurs are coming to life. And so you are excited by the film, and the park doesn't even go bananas until about 60% of the way through. And just even the way the characters are so balanced out, of each of them having a built-out, developed backstory, worldview that they bring to this exciting situation that all of us would be excited by, and you see their different perspectives.
/ terrified. Well, would you say that to an extent Jurassic Park is like a different take on Jaws? Like, as far as like the mayor not closing the beaches.
Yeah, there's some similar themes in the response.
I know they're
of
not
people to
like
it.
Really.
I mean, like there's certainly a sense of like even what made Jaws great. Well, you have these different people. Shark shows up and they respond so differently to it in alignment with their personalities.
Ironically, I would not stick around as much as I like the movie. Out of there.
But
sharks.
But I mean, that's what makes Spielberg one of the greats, is that he makes these popcorn films that are so watchable and fun or terrifying or thrilling, but they also care about the characters and they have depth to them.
I love the practical effects. That the dinosaurs are amazing. It's awesome.
It is awesome, so it comes in at number 1. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. If you want more content like this, it'll just be me. Jennifer won't be there. Check it out right over there. If you want Jennifer to show up in more videos, tell us down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and keep talking movies too much. And happy anniversary to you.